Colorado High School Activities Association football is on Morgan County's B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Tonight from Legion Field, it's homecoming night as the visiting Lincoln Lancers take on the Fort Morgan Mustangs along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. I'm John Beltran. We'll have a 7:15 kickoff tonight. Brian, you know the story behind that.
Yeah, they had called earlier in the week, weren't sure if they were going to have a bus to get them down here on time, and so they were going to want to move it to 7:30. And then called back a little later and said, yeah, we have a bus that can be there, so let's go ahead and put it at 7. And then they called back again and says, well, we're not sure if we're going to be able to make it there. And apparently Bob Campbell said, no, we're going to leave it at 7 o'clock. But they didn't arrive here till 6:30, so the sportsmen we are, that they'll compromise and go to 7:15.
Well, I guess it's one of those deals. You'd rather win the game by playing than by forfeit. In other words, you would rather have them properly warm up than already have that advantage. I mean, they could have taken advantage of that and say, we're going to go at 7, but I think the Mustangs did the right thing. And Kevin, as league play begins, we know that Fort Morgan had a tough time in Frederick a couple of weeks ago, and the front 7 really suffered. They could not get Frederick to punt whatsoever, and we've seen all season that if the Mustangs are going to be competitive, it really starts on the defensive end because the offense is going to have its challenges throughout the course of the season, especially with 3 different starting quarterbacks so far.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, John. It'll be interesting to see how good this Lincoln team is. Coach seems to think that they're pretty good, and they've got some wins under their belt. Fort Morgan's just got to put forth that effort, and hopefully the Lions come along with the break week and all, but you're right. Defense, let's hope for some turnovers, get something going that way. The one game that Fort Morgan won was high on turnovers for the other team, and
6 of them.
So that certainly helps you as a football team to get the ball back and not have to stop them. So,
well, November the 27th was the last time the Mustangs won a football game that was not played in Pueblo. So they need to, they've got a shot here because the 4 games they've lost this season either been at home. They only had 1 home game. In fact, this is their first home game since August 25th when Chase Romero was the starting quarterback. That's the only game, Brian, that he lasted from start to finish. But J.J. Marquez, as Coach Davies said, has earned another start. And he really showed some flashes of success. It's a matter of being consistent now.
Yeah, he did. That brush game, really didn't count. He was just kind of thrown into that because Chase had got hurt. But once he had some time with that first string offense and stuff, he looked pretty good. A lot more improved anyway. So, but as a freshman, if they start him this year, he'll be starting for the next 4 years, and what an advantage that'll be for the offense.
Well, yeah, then you got to figure out what to do with Trey Romero because he offers a different dimension. He's a bigger guy. He's a left-handed quarterback, but he's a good athlete as well. And then you got to worry about what's happening in the backfield. Samson Ortega out for the season after, I believe, dislocating his shoulder. He had 20 carries for 58 yards. Prior to that, Aiden Derry got hurt early in the year. He's your kind of like your senior battering ram. So now you're down to David Keller, and he's had his injury issues, but he's healthy enough to play. And then Ben Fritzler as a freshman, and he's got to beef up, and it's not on him because he's only a freshman. But, Kevin, you've done enough football to see that the difference between just a freshman and sophomore year, especially if you hit the weight room, can be pretty significant.
Oh, yeah, some of the most amazing transformations I've ever noticed was going from incoming freshmen to just the end of the school year of their freshman year. And so it's a huge growth spurt and maturing. And so it's a very rare freshman that can step in and play. And I think the big thing with Marquez is now he's had weeks to prepare as that starter and get those reps. In that brush game, it really wasn't fair to him because they were practicing with the quarterback that they thought was going to go, and he probably got very few reps. So I expect him to improve as the season goes along, because he's a smart kid and has good athletic genes, and he's a good athlete, and I think he'll do well.
He's got very good athletic genes, and Brian's very familiar because I don't know if one or both of your sons played with David Marquez, who was a standout. He was not a quarterback, but he was kind of an undersized linebacker. But talk about brains, and he played on those teams that went to the obviously the state finals in 01, and I think he might have graduated 03. So, I mean, he played on a team that wasn't so good in 02, but nonetheless, it's not only pedigree, it's championship type of pedigree. And the other thing, like I mentioned earlier, is that Fort Morgan hasn't played at home since late August. So a freshman opening up on the road, I mean, and you and I know, Brian, that was a rather raucous environment.
Yeah.
And a rock and roll type of environment. It can be very intimidating. So I think he should be a little bit calmer tonight, because calm for the most part, but had that huge turnover early in the game that kind of put Fort Morgan behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, it'll be a whole different atmosphere for him tonight. So, you know, he won't have the noise going on that they had going on up there. So I think he'll be okay. He's pretty composed. Was pretty composed that night, I thought. A lot more than what we'd seen before. But like Kevin said, you know, it wasn't fair to him to get thrown into the fire like that. So, but you were talking turnovers. Lincoln has had 19 fumbles and have lost 10. So there's a good chance there that they can strip the ball. The quarterback, I believe, has lost 6, and their leading back, Vargas, I think he's had 5 fumbles. So
yeah, the quarterback is Jamari Childress, who must be watching tape of Matt Ryan in terms of trying to hold on to the ball, because Matt Ryan going into last night's game had 5 interceptions and 9 fumbles. Now 7 interceptions, intercepted twice last night. But my apologies for making even one reference to an unwatchable football game that, luckily, since I was calling Brush, although we did have the monitor right in front of us watching the Broncos and the Colts. Hopefully we'll have some quality football out here tonight.
I was going to say, you use that term game loosely.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, that was anything but a game. Now, one thing we thought might have been a factor, looks like the temperature is not going to be as bad as we thought, Brian.
no, I thought it was going to be a little cooler, but at least there isn't any wind either. I checked a little bit ago. I think it was 49 degrees, but it's really comfortable. So
Yeah, and with that, the kicking games can flourish. And speaking of kicking, I mean, Brandon Marquez had a few opportunities. He almost made a field goal before halftime 2 weeks ago against Frederick. And it's worth mentioning that with the struggles Fort Morgan's had on offense, and worth mentioning again that Chase Reddings had a tremendous season punting.
oh yeah, he's had a great year. He ought to be if he's not all state, he should be, or at least considered the way he's been punting. So yeah, what a weapon he is to be able to flip the field.
Yeah, I always find it interesting when you have an all-state punter, like all-state quarterback and running backs, that usually comes from like a Final Four type of team, but your punter is not somebody that should be coming from a championship team or even a winning team, because they rarely get opportunities. And you don't want Fort Morgan to finish the season 1-9. I mean, that is a possibility. Coach does feel good about tonight's game, so that should give him a second victory. But again, the point being is that you have an all-state punter. That should be somebody who's probably averaged about 3 to 4 opportunities a game, and that's what Chase Redding is essentially getting. Now, the other thing is that it's homecoming night, and what we will do during halftime, we'll pick up the live feed of what's going on here at Legion Field. So that'll be half of our halftime show. Then the other half will be what we recorded back in studio. And we'll also have our YouTube channel, KSIR B106, recording what's happening here during the halftime festivities, during the homecoming festivities, when the entire homecoming court is introduced, and then the king and queen as well. Brush just held theirs last night, and of course, Fort Morgan Mustangs tonight for this league opener, and a league, quite frankly, that you would think it's a 2-team league. Lutheran and Holy Family to win this thing. You've got Northfield, you have Kennedy, Fort Morgan, and that would and of course Lincoln. Yeah, tonight's opponent. So they face Lutheran and Holy Family a little bit later on in the year, but those are the two favorites.
Yeah, I think, speaking of that, tonight will probably decide the league champion, because they're playing each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's I knew
it's a little early in the season to think that way, but realistically, that is barring any injuries on both of those teams. That would let maybe Northfield come in. Maybe Fort Morgan if we come on strong. But Northfield's playing really good ball, and I think Lincoln is. Kennedy's going to be the the victory that we should be able to get.
Yeah, I think Northfield's sitting at number 4 in the RPI, so they're what are they, 3-2? I don't remember what their record is for sure, but they apparently have had some pretty good games, but they're pretty high in the RPI. So
yeah, we won't be there for about another 3 weeks. Today is the 7th, and I believe that game is on the 29th in Denver on a Saturday morning. So next week, the Mustangs will still be here. That'll be the Thursday game against Kennedy, and then the following week, another Thursday game at Holy Family, and then they're off for 9 days. So hopefully if they get that victory over Kennedy, we're concentrating mainly on tonight's game, but you've got to go into that Holy Family game coming off a victory, because even last week or 2 weeks ago when they lost to Frederick, I don't know what you thought, Brian, but I thought the body language, until Frederick really started rolling on Fort Morgan, I thought the body language for the Mustangs was pretty good early on in that game.
oh yeah, they were out there. They were fighting every inch they could, but Frederick was, I don't know what happened that night with the defense, but they just couldn't stop that run at all. They just couldn't stop that Frederick offense, and it was just running wild. So, and we're not going to see that again, I don't think. So, the Mustangs come out tonight and control the ball a little bit, get some turnovers, and get away out of here with a victory.
All right, we're going to take an extended break because kickoff will be at 7:15, so that's in about 10 minutes. We'll have a report from Kevin Schaefer here, who's got the Colorado Prep Scoreboard Show coming up from 9:30 to 11. And then we'll take you into the national anthem in just a few minutes. But homecoming kickoff is 10 minutes away. Fort Morgan Mustangs and Lincoln Lancers. Game number 2 of the regular season at Legion Field for the Mustangs. And game number 6 of the season, along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. I'm John Beltran. As you are listening to Morgan County's B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde, I'm John Beltran as we approach kickoff of tonight's homecoming contest between the Mustangs and Lincoln Lancers. Lincoln dressed in white uniforms and the Mustangs in their maroon jerseys with the white pants. Something I saw last night, gentlemen, when Brush beat Sterling 61-3, is that Sterling looked like they had like 25 players dressed. That doesn't look like a deep sideline there for Lincoln either.
Yeah, 29 players I counted earlier. A lot of possibilities. Maybe they just can't get 2 buses to bring more kids out, or they just don't bring JV or freshmen to games. But yeah, hopefully they don't have anyone injured and that doesn't come into play.
You know what I think part of it is too? I mean, we're in 2022. The interest in football has been challenged by one, other sports, and 2, I mean, kids they just don't want to play football like before. I mean, it was almost automatic for the majority of your student body to play football, Brian, but I think today it's a different ball game altogether.
Yeah, they I think a lot of them are, they're concerned about the concussion thing, and there's also, there's golf out there for kids to play now. There's soccer out there to play. There's just, a variety cross country, a variety of different sports instead of going out there and getting your bell rung or getting whatever, but
yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for that. I think also our society is going away from a teamwork mentality and more to an individualist thing. And you got cross country and golf where you're going out and it's, you're not going to let anyone down and you're not depending on anyone, on your thing. And football's, like the ultimate team sport, I think.
Well, and if you're going to play football, you know that you probably will not go beyond this level for the most part. So this is the time to get your football in, but you have to be passionate about the sport. And unlike the other sports, I mean, they're all good sports, but the other sports don't involve the level of fear that this sport does. You got to come out aggressively and not be afraid to get hurt as the Mustangs storm out on the field. The opening kickoff tonight is brought to you by Buildings by Design. First impressions are important. Buildings by Design will make your vision a reality. Visit buildingsbydesign.com.
So you mentioned the fear factor. I remember that even being a factor back in the 90s. And at that point, there was a statistic that more high school students ended up being paralyzed due to cheerleading accidents than from playing football.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But you don't see that in the news. You don't see that with the pros having the brain injuries and that sort of thing. So I think it is kind of a transitional time for football. But the manufacturers are doing a really good job of trying to make the equipment better and safer. And coaches are teaching kids to tackle differently. And, I have hope for the future.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not teaching them tackle differently in the pros. I mean, you still see a lot of head hunting and, spearing. And college, it's Division I. It could be a little bit iffy at times with all the targeting. But at least they're instituting rules, Kevin, to try to prevent that from happening.
Right, there was a college game just last week where, a player made a legitimate good tackle. The guy caught the ball and turned, and he attacked him mid-drift, but it rocked him, and they called a personal foul on him.
Yeah.
So they are looking at that and trying to protect players a little bit.
Well, Brian, you well know you can do anything you want. You can't make this game totally safe.
No, that's why you have a helmet on. That's why you have pads on. It's a collision sport. It's a violent sport, really. So, but controlled violence, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. Brandon Marquez to kick it off. A high, deep kick. It'll be fielded at the 17, running right to the 20-yard line, jitterbugging to the 25, and getting loose to the 30 along the left sideline with a stiff arm. That could be almost, thought it was offensive face masking down at the 43-yard line is Sonny Garcia. But I guess he didn't grab the face mask. That's a legal stiff arm, and it's a return of 26 yards on special teams there for Lincoln. Not a good start for the Mustangs, and Lincoln's got pretty good field position.
Yeah, I thought he'd actually grabbed it there at one point, but apparently the ref did zig because I know the side judge was looking right at the play. So we'll see what the defense can do here tonight.
Starting quarterback is Jamari Childress, who is a senior. Out of the shotgun, low snap. He picks up the ball, rolls to his right, and he's down. He's just going to basically sack himself back at the 38. The Mustangs with Noah Aguirre and Colin Duckworth, plenty of penetration. It'll be a loss of 5. Again, we'll call that a sack because, quite frankly, the snap was not good.
That's true. It was a low snap, rolled back to him, and by the time he had a little trouble gathering it up, the Mustangs were on him.
Middle of the field, second down and 15 from the 38-yard line. Now under center is Childress. Will hand it off left side and stuffed in the backfield and maybe getting back to the line of scrimmage. Let's see if that's their lead back, and that is Benaya Vargas. No gain, third down.
Number 24, Benaya Vargas on the carry.
15 to go for Lincoln.
That bad snap was just what the Mustangs needed to get the momentum taken back out of Lincoln's hands and get the Mustangs feeling good about it.
Out of the shotgun, third down and 15. 7:15 start tonight. Man in motion to the right is Vargas. Rolling out to his right is Childress. Left-handed toss is going to be incomplete. It's off of Vargas' hands at the 39-yard line. They went 5 yards backwards, and it'll be 4th and 15. And just like that, just over a minute into the game, or about a minute into the game, Lincoln's got a punt. And it looks like Childress is going to be the punter. And back deep to receive is Angel Lopez for the Mustangs.
Yeah, I think if that had been caught, he wasn't going anywhere anyway. He had a defender real close to him anyway.
Now a late substitution. This is the problem when you get here as late as Lincoln did at 6:30. There's a high snap. Here comes the rush. Low line drive. That'll take a few bounces. That actually is a good punt for Lincoln down to the 23-yard line. So not too bad. It went for almost 40 yards, considering that it was a low line drive that barely got off the ground, but they benefit from that, and the Mustangs start, again, just inside their 30-yard line.
Yeah, sometimes those are the...
Or did somebody touch it? I don't think.
No.
Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah, they're back on the
but
25.
Fort Morgan was almost looked like a defensive posture
Right.
instead of an offensive posture. I didn't understand that. It's at the 29-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs. Out of the pistol formation with one setback. J.J. Marquez, the freshman. In the backfield is David Keller. Could have a big night for him. He's yet to really unleash his talent from the backfield. High snap back to throw out to the right. The pass is called by Johnson underneath. Makes a move to the inside across the 25 to the 30. The original line of scrimmage was actually the 24, not the 29. And it's a gain of 6 to the 30. Second down and 4 to go for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, Fort Morgan read that they only had one guy out defending against the Twins. Some receivers they had wide right that time and adjusted and made a quick screen.
Two receivers to the left, one to the right. Second down and 4 for the 30. There's the handoff to Keller, running left. He's got a first down to the 35. Along the sideline, breaks a tackle at the 40. And then he's going to be taken out of bounds across the 45-yard line. A nice run for David Keller and a gain of 25 and a first down for the Mustangs.
Ball on the Lancers 45.
Yeah, they had some nice blocking out there. The receivers did a nice job out on that left side to spring him out there, and then he got down that left side, stepped out at the 45.
Pistol formation for Fort Morgan in Lincoln territory. First and 10 for the 45-yard line. There's the snap and the give to Keller, and Keller's got a few yards out of that one. He had to sidestep a defender initially before he was tackled at about the 41-yard line for a gain of 4.
Fort Morgan's front five seemed to be holding up and making some holes for the running backs tonight.
Looked like L.J. Martinez, a defensive end, made the tackle. Second down and a short 6 to go just inside the Lincoln 41. Opening drive of the game for Fort Morgan. Lincoln went 3 and out. As we are under 9 minutes to go in the opening quarter. On second down and 6. Marquez is going to roll out to his right. Still rolling. Throws on the run. The pass is complete. And that's a first down to the 26-yard line. A beautiful pass to Charlie Langford.
First down.
And for the Mustangs, what was the original line of scrimmage there, Brian?
41.
Gain of 15.
That was a nice looking pass. He waited till he finally came across there and got open. He had 2 or 3 options there, but waited for Langford to come open and connected with him.
Well, and he followed through with that pass. A lot of times guys are rolling out and you want to get it there quickly and you don't follow through and the ball goes high. Pistol formation, first and 10 for the 26. Lopez in motion to the left, has it on the jet sweep, cuts it to the inside, and he's tripped up after a short gain to about the 23-yard line. The tackle was made by King Stansel, a freshman, only at 5'6", 120.
2-yard line. Second down.
Well, he might have dove for an extra yard, so give Lopez 4, second down and 6 at the 22. Remember, the Mustangs began the season going right down the field. In fact, they scored in their first 2 drives when it was 10-0 against Conifer, but did not score thereafter. Second down and 6 for the 22. Aguirre resets. There's the give to Keller, up the middle to the 20. Keller to the 15. He barrels into a defender. First down inside the 15 to the 13. It's a gain of 9 for David Keller.
For Mustangs. First down.
It almost looks like Le'Veon Bell type of running. Very patient.
Right. Yeah, I think if Lincoln can't get anything going on, this is going to be a high-scoring game for the Mustangs.
From the 13, there's the give to Keller. Big hole up the right side. Breaks a tackle, dives, and he's down at the 1. It's a gain of 12.
David Keller on the carry.
For David Keller, he got tripped up. But that's a good call. I think he was down, and the Mustangs right up to the line of scrimmage. Let's see if they give it to Keller here. First and goal at the 1-yard line. Marquez to Keller up the middle, and he is into the end zone for a Mustang touchdown. David Keller from 1 yard out, and the Mustangs lead 6-0 on homecoming night.
David Keller on the carry.
Yeah, the Mustangs are looking good on that offensive line. They're making holes there, and Keller's getting into, and they're quick hitters.
Right.
There's nothing this, moving around a little bit and trying to find your hole. It's there, and he's going through it.
Well, 5 carries for 51 yards. And that sounds pretty ideal. If you're Fort Morgan, now the extra point to be attempted by Brandon Marquez off the hold of Charlie Langford. Late substitution for the Mustangs, getting in on that line. Yeah, we don't have a 60 on the roster. Come out with a fresh roster, hopefully, for Fort Morgan. Oh, and that's going to be encroachment
See if they,
Encroachment on the defense.
see if they want to go for 2.
Well, they're at the 1 now, but I think they'll just kick the extra point unless there's another encroachment.
I don't know, the way they're running, 2 points would be a sure thing.
Good point. There's the snap. The kick is up, and that one is good. 7:03 to go in the opening quarter. Fort Morgan 7, Lincoln nothing on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Kickoff fielded at the 8-yard line, running wide to the right and breaking a tackle towards a 10, and still breaking tackles and down at the 15-yard line is Sonny Garcia, and that was an excellent
Number
kickoff
4,
by
Sonny
Brandon
Garcia
Marquez.
on the
Really
return.
got it on the short side of the field, and Garcia ran laterally to his right. He gained more running laterally than he did forward.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, the good coverage that time by the kickoff team for the Mustangs.
Mustangs going on an 8-play drive in excess of 70 yards, a 1-yard touchdown run from David Keller. And now, after the 6-yard kickoff return, 1st and 10 at the 14 for Lincoln. Under center is Childress. He'll hand it off up the middle. Let's see if that's Vargas across the 15 to the 16 and driven back for a gain of 2. Middle of the Mustang defense made the play, and that is Vargas. 2nd carry and the first positive yardage he's got.
They look like they have some pretty good size along that front line, but they don't really seem to push out very well.
Well, tough to run by Adolfo Hernandez, who was one of the Mustangs in on the play. And this time you got trips to the right, 1 to the left out of the shotgun. 2nd down and 8 for the 16. Childress will take it himself to his right. There's a flag down, and so is Childress at the line of scrimmage. I wonder if that's a hold, because I didn't see any face mask or anything that would be against Fort Morgan. And at this point, you might decline and set up a 3rd down and 8.
Yep.
Oh, it's a chop block. Well, that they might take because, well, either way, either penalty would be half the distance. And the chop block is going
Offside
to be
on the
enforced.
offense.
No, it's not offside on the offense. All right, Ricky.
Well,
That's a chop block, Ricky.
those mechanics are.
Yeah, but that one I could
they
tell.
look the same. Yeah, I mean, for someone who isn't quite have your acumen, it might
No,
be harder
and
for
now-
them to distinguish between the offsides and the chop block.
Kevin already with joke number 1 of the night. 2nd down and 16 at the 8-yard line. Direct snap, and now we got a flag down. I think that was illegal procedure, false start.
False start on the offense.
They're going to be backed up.
It wasn't traveling.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it is
There we
the
go.
goal line.
In a couple of months, it will be.
Yeah.
Right, in a couple of months it will be. Meanwhile, Kevin does have a day job, but this one you're doing pretty good right
Oh,
now.
thanks.
No, you're good. That nomenclature that you're throwing into your act is very impressive. I love it. If this game gets out of hand, we got to do this stuff, Kevin.
Oh yeah.
All right, it's 2nd down and 20 from the 4-yard line under center. And there's the give on the left side to Vargas, and he is stuffed. And there's about 3 Mustangs to make the play. Again, right at the line of scrimmage.
3rd down.
And I think Keller came up from his linebacker position as one of a few Mustangs to make the hit. 3rd down and 20 to go for the 4-yard line. And now Lincoln takes their first time out.
Timeout, Lincoln.
By the way, this first quarter tonight is brought to you by B&B Appliance. From refrigerators to vacuums and everything in between, they have exactly what you need in service at 2. That is B&B Appliance.
A big thank you to the Mustang, or to the Fort Morgan Fire
Game
Department,
time
to
temperature
volunteer
tonight
chain crew for all of our home games.
should be in the 40s.
And we appreciate all that you
Game
do
time
for our
temp
community.
at 47 degrees.
Yep.
And as Brian mentioned, the wind is really not a factor, so
Yeah.
it's probably a true 47 as opposed to what it could be.
Oh, yeah.
If that wind was kicking up.
Yeah, this time of year. Well, it had been blowing earlier, but that flag is hanging quite limp right now.
3rd down and 20 at the 4-yard line. Lincoln trailing Fort Morgan 7-0. Under center is Childress. Play action, rolling out to his left, throwing on the run. The pass is complete, short of a 1st down. Johnson makes the tackle. It's a gain of 16, and L.J. Martinez makes the catch. It'll be a 4th down and 4. That should be a punting situation, but who knows? what Lincoln will do.
And that'll be
I
fourth
think
down.
they would punt.
Yeah. Well, it's still early in the game, but that was an impressive throw.
That was.
Yeah.
And it was nearly dropped over there. Looked like Martinez had trouble hanging on to it. And the Mustangs basically were just keeping the receivers in front of them because they knew they could allow quite a bit of yardage and still force in a punt. High snap, here comes the rush. And it's very short, end over end. And it's caught on the Mustangs sideline. And that's going to be a punt of maybe about 10 yards.
At the 33-yard
A
line.
13-yard punt, and Fort Morgan is in business again.
Yes, let's see if Fort Morgan can keep up with the good running game and be able to score here in 3 or 4 plays. And just keep the good mojo going.
Lining up on the right hash mark, leading 7-0 on a 1-yard run by David Keller, who's already got 51 yards in the game. On 5 carries, we have 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Marquez on that first drive did go 2 for 2. A 6-yarder to Johnson, 15 yards to Charlie Langford, awaiting the snap out of the pistol formation. There's the toss left to Keller. Swings it back towards the middle, kicks it to the outside. Flag is down. That's going to be holding against Fort Morgan as Keller's down to the 26. That'll nullify a 7-yard gain and set up about a 1st and 20.
Yeah, that flag was way behind the play. It didn't even need to be done, but
Against the Mustangs.
it happened.
10-yard penalty.
Well, that theory about
Touchdown.
playing all the way to the whistle, you really don't have to if you know the play
Right.
for an offensive lineman.
Yeah, and you certainly don't want to be, hitting someone behind the play. Not that that was the case here. Probably just ended up on someone and they were trying to get up and grabbed a hold of a leg or something, but still unnecessary.
Turns into a 9-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Second down and make it first down and 19 to go from the 42-yard line of Lincoln. And you could still run the ball here. You don't have to get fancy and pass it, but let's see what Fort Morgan decides to do. 5 yards behind center. Marquez pumps, looking, pressure coming deep along the middle. That pass is going to be caught at the 5. Touchdown, Angel Lopez. It was a jump ball at the 10-yard line. Lopez went and got it. It was just hanging up there. And the Mustangs lead 13-0.
That was a little bit of a desperation throw right as he's getting hit. The defender was in good position and just didn't play it well as it got there. And a great catch by Fort Morgan and a score.
42 yards. But let's credit Lopez with that because it was really, can I say that was a wounded duck?
Yes.
Because it was just hanging up there. Thank you, Brian. Kevin, you want to confirm?
I'd just say, you might offend some of the ducks out there, but yeah, that was what it looked like.
And the extra point is up and good.
Extra point attempt by
3:52 to go in the opening quarter and homecoming night. Fort Morgan 14, Lincoln nothing on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network.
Let's all rise for the kickoff.
A 42-yard touchdown pass from J.J. Marquez to Angel Lopez. The defender fell when Lopez went up and got it at about the 10-yard line. And all Lopez had to do was break free, which he did. And that kickoff is a line drive fielded by Garcia and dropped. Now he picks it up at the 15-yard line, runs laterally to his right, breaks out of a tackle. He's in the clear along the right sideline to the 40. He's getting loose and taken down near midfield, just across the 45 to the 46. And for the second time in the opening quarter, special teams have let the Mustangs down.
Yeah, and both of those times, it wasn't a really clean catch, and it was just some really good effort by their receiver, run back guy, whatever you.
Well, it was a 42-yard touchdown, but that was only a 33-yard drive because the Mustangs went backwards after that holding penalty. But they do lead 14-0. David Keller with the other touchdown. It's 1st and 10 for Lincoln at their own 46-yard line. Under 4 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Man in motion to the left is Martinez under center. Childress will pitch it left. And that's going to be a loss, maybe. Yep, it's going to be a big-time loss of at least a couple of yards. Aguirre was one of the Mustangs in on the play as the pitch went to King Stansel, the freshman.
Number 41,
and also it looked like Dominic Vasquez made the big hit. A loss of 1 officially. 2nd down and 11.
Yeah, a couple of Mustangs came in there and blew him up on that play.
Well, if they're running a freshman, that's going to be even tougher for Lincoln. 2nd down and 11 at their own 45-yard line. Still looking for their first down on their 3rd possession of the game. 2 receivers split out to the left. 1 to the right under center. Again is Childress. He'll hand it off to Vargas, and he's clipped at the line of scrimmage. Penetration by David Keller. And he did get out of the backfield, but now 3rd down and 11.
Number 22, David Keller.
And 5 carries so far for Lincoln as a team for 1 yard.
Yeah, there's nothing up front for them right now. I think that's why on that first down play, they were trying to go wide, and the Mustang speed caught up to them and didn't allow that to get outside.
3rd down and 11 at their own 45-yard line. Fort Morgan 14, Lincoln nothing. 2 receivers split each side. Out of the shotgun, high snap. The slant is going to be incomplete. It's off the hands of Martinez, thrown behind him at the 49-yard line, and defended by
Number 4,
Gabriel Bosworth. 4th down and 11, and Lincoln once again will have to punt. I do like Childress' arm. He's got a pretty decent arm, but that looks like the only way they're going to be able to generate offense, just like Sterling last night. Sterling couldn't run the ball against Brush, and they did have 2 or 3 pass plays that were successful. One would set up their only score of the game, which was a 29-yard field goal.
Yeah, it's got a nice spiral to it. He was just off on that one.
Standing at his own 34, high snap. He gets it off another line drive. This one fielded on a hop at the 25, running along the right sideline to the 40, and then out of bounds, and that's a late hit. Lopez was hit very late there, but no whistle. A return of about 22. Yeah, I don't know how that flag wasn't thrown. If Lopez had gone to the ground, I think they'd throw a flag there, Kevin.
Right, I think so, and I think the other thing was there was a Fort Morgan blocking, and we had contact with the defender at that point, and I don't know, for whatever reason, no penalty, and Lincoln's running a kind of an interesting defense. It's a 4-3, but only their 2 interior linemen are getting down, and that's just allowing Fort Morgan to get everybody a couple yards downfield before we get the ball handed off.
1st and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 48-yard line, leading 14-0. This is possession number 3, pistol formation. Aguirre resets. J.J. Marquez will hand it off to Keller, running to his left to the 50. He's got a seam along the side to the 35. Let's see if Keller can go to the 20. Keller with a defender to beat. Breaks out of a tackle to the 5. Keller dives. Keller scores a touchdown. 52 yards for David Keller. And the Mustangs have 3 TDs in the first quarter on homecoming night. Keller with his 2nd of the game. And Fort Morgan leads 20-0.
Yeah, they had a nice opening in the front line there, and then he just outran him. He was hit a couple of times, but slipped away and got into the end zone on a dive.
Now the extra point, Charlie Langford will hold. Snap is there, the kick is up, and the Mustangs lead 21-0 with less than 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. I think Kevin earlier had called for like a 3 or 4 play drive, but that was a 1-play drive.
We'll take it.
52 yards from David Keller. He's got 6 carries for 103 yards already, so he's on a pace for a 400-yard night, which is not going to happen because, I mean, let's face it, gentlemen, now this is going to get to a running clock the way it's going.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me. I thought Lincoln was going to be a better team than that.
And Brandon Marquez with a little pooch along the sideline, bounces, and it's loose at the 22, picked up, and then breaking tackles is Garcia, but he's only got 2 yards after that at the 24.
On the return.
Elijah Palacios eventually made the hit for Fort Morgan. So you got a 1-yard touchdown run from Keller, 42-yard pass from Marquez to Lopez, and then the 52-yarder, by David Keller on that last run. 1st and 10 for Lincoln at their own 25-yard line. The Mustangs out to a 21-0 lead, and we still have about 100 seconds to go in the opening quarter from Legion Field. And now we're going to have the second timeout called by Lincoln. And there's 2 reasons for that. There must have been some confusion, and because you can't take the timeouts with you, Kevin.
Well, you can't, and when you're down 21-0, you got to look at it from the perspective of let's try and build some positive things. And if the kids aren't out there and lined up right or whatever, and the play's going to fail, you might as well try and coach them up a little bit
Boys
on that one.
soccer goes Roosevelt on.
Yeah, this is the time to do it. Game atmosphere
Right.
instead of trying to do it at practice and stuff. You got it. This is live ball here that they can learn from.
Well, that's what was impressive about Fort Morgan. 2 weeks ago, they were down 35-7. It was only 21-7 at half, but then they scored a touchdown, and Mustangs went with an onside kick because the game was still not over. It was mid to late in the third quarter. Now, this game appears to be over already, but at least you want to execute the game plan to the best of your ability.
Right.
Then you start wondering how Lincoln has any victories based on the way they're playing tonight. 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. High snap, Childress to throw. Heaves it deep along the right side. Should be picked off. It is by Bosworth at the 46. Back to the middle to the 45 of Lincoln. Jitterbugging to the 40, and he's down at the 34-yard line. A return of 21 yards, and that is the first turnover of the game as Bosworth comes up with the interception.
Where the Mustangs will begin, 1st and 10.
Well, that was one thing we were talking about earlier about having some turnovers, and he hadn't thrown, I don't think, but maybe 2 or 3 interceptions in the first 5 games, but that was well overthrown.
90 seconds to go in the opening quarter. And the Mustangs have it at the 35-yard line of Lincoln. And they have scored on all their possessions so far. Well, maybe Keller goes for about 130 this quarter. He's the setback from the 35. Marquez to throw, pumping deep along the sideline. It's tipped and caught by Johnson. Touchdown off the deflection. 35 yards.
Number 24,
Kayshawn Johnson.
with the touchdown reception.
And the Mustangs lead 27-0.
And that was a beautiful pass. I mean,
It was.
It was.
He could have let him a little
He could have
more.
let it a little bit. It was tipped, but Johnson alert enough that he was able to still come down with it and get it in the end zone. But that was not a dying duck like we'd seen.
No,
earlier.
that was a lot better. And there's offsides there. No flag, or is there a flag? The kick is good. Yeah, I think they're just going to let it go. We'll keep it right here.
Extra point attempt by Brandon Marquez.
As the Mustangs
is good.
on that 35-yarder to Johnson. Second touchdown pass of the game for Marquez. Have a 28-0 lead. I mean, I expected Fort Morgan to win this game tonight, but not like this.
No.
Right.
Yeah. This is.
So that just shows you the lack of parity in high school sports, that Fort Morgan can do this to Lincoln, and then the same Fort Morgan team can go and have that against Roosevelt. So what would Roosevelt do against a team like this?
That's scary. That would be scary. In fact, you'd fear for Lincoln that somebody would get hurt.
Right.
For the kickoff.
Roosevelt's in a big game tonight. I wonder how they're going to do against Resurrection Christian, the newcomer on 3A.
Colorado Prep scoreboard show with Kevin Schaefer from 9:30 to 11 on B106. Another pooch bounces at the 21. It's still loose. Picked up by Garcia at the 20. Up the middle, and he spun around at the 30 and down at the 33-yard line. Vasquez makes the tackle.
Sonny Garcia on the return.
Speaking of that game, Resurrection Christian leads 8-7 in the first period.
Well, that's a sound school. They went to the state quarters last year as a 2-seed, and Brush upset them in Loveland 21-17.
It looks like Durango's got a really good team again this year. They've been out of it for a while, but they're up 35-3 at half against number 7 Summit.
Well, Durango, they just won the title I think 3 years ago.
Was it?
They beat Roosevelt.
Oh,
But
okay.
you're right. They were down for a while, and then they beat Roosevelt for the state title the year that Fort Morgan lost in that quarterfinal. That would have been the pandemic year 2 years ago. There's the give to Vargas running out to the outside, and he's across the 40 to the 41. It's a gain of 7 for Benaya Vargas. By far his best carry of the game. Second down and 3. I'm John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. And on homecoming night,
41-yard line, second down.
the Mustangs are not being very inviting hosts. They're really taking it to the Lincoln Lancers. 48 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Second down and 3 from their own 41. Under center is Childress, and he will fall and hand it off right up the gut. And Vargas, trying to carry defenders, is down after a gain of 2.
Well, those are 2 positive plays for Lincoln. They're close to getting their first down of the night.
Third down and a long one at their own 43-yard line. Yeah, I think they'll just keep it on the ground.
I don't know if they'll even run another play or under 20 seconds, so see it.
Yeah, they should get another one off. Out of the shotgun on a 3rd and 1 and trips to the left. This might be a quarterback keeper. Are they going to let it run down, Brian?
We're on 2 seconds, 1 second.
We have played 12 minutes on homecoming night from Legion Field. It's Fort Morgan 28, Lincoln nothing on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Let's head to the second quarter. It's 3rd down and 1. I was going to say second. 3rd and 1 for Lincoln at their own 43-yard line, trailing Fort Morgan by a 28-0 score. Quarterback keeper, first down, right up the gut, a gain of 2 for Jamari Childress. As Colin Duckworth was in on the hit,
Gain is good for a Lancers first down.
along with Tyler Hetke.
Ball on the 45-yard line.
That's the first carry for Childress in the game. They've got it at the 45, the Mustangs. A 1-yard touchdown run from David Keller. Then a 42-yard pass from Marquez to Angel Lopez, a 52-yard run by David Keller, and then a 35-yarder from Keller to Johnson, or from Marquez to Johnson. Shotgun rolling out to his left, pressure coming. He'll take off with a football, and he's going to be sacked. And that looks like Hetke again. Yep, back at the 43-yard line for a loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12 at their own 43-yard line.
Proactive medicine.
You know, they just went away from that run after getting their first down on 3 runs in a row. Now they lose yardage on the pass.
Well, I think the Mustangs came with a blitz. Looked like there was an extra defender that they sent. From the 43-yard line, 2nd down and 8. Lincoln has not been on Fort Morgan's side of the field yet, but they're only 7 yards away from being at midfield. Under center, Childress hands it off on the right side to Vargas, and he runs into Mustangs across the 45 to the 47. That's a gain of 4, as the initial penetration came from Charlie Langford before 2 other Mustangs cleaned it up. Colin Duckworth in on the hit as well. 3rd down and 8 to go. 7 carries for Vargas for 15 yards. In fact, they've got 32 yards of total offense. The Mustangs had 103 alone from their running back Keller. And Marquez with 98 yards passing in the opening quarter. 3rd down and 8 to go from their own 47. Childress again under center. Play action. Rolls out to his left. He's got running room. Throws it deep over the middle. The pass is going to be incomplete. A diving attempt at the 21-yard line.
Number 1, Alex Rubio.
And if that throw is anywhere near Rubio or closer to him while he's actually running, he could have caught it and scored, as Rubio was the intended receiver. Mustangs did not play that as well as they should have. And on 4th down, they'll have to punt.
I think he could have just took off and ran with the ball and probably got the first down too. But you look downfield and you see your guy 5-6 yards deep on the defender, you're going to go for that.
On 4th down and 8 to go, Childress to punt, high snap. That's a better punt. It's fluttering a little bit. It'll bounce, nearly hit a Mustang. It's going to be down at the 20-yard line. The punt goes for 32 yards, and Fort Morgan will have a lot of field to operate with this time. In the opening stance, I should say, of the second quarter, up 28-0.
See if they can continue it, and I don't know why they shouldn't.
Well, I thought that Marquez is back in there. Thought I saw another player get in there for a second. Yeah, there's some personnel issues. Redding is lining up as a receiver to the left, and now Johnson to the right. I guess it's a new formation because they were confused. And now Fort Morgan has to take a timeout. Well, he was pointing towards Lincoln. Why was he pointing towards Lincoln? But it looked like the confusion was on Fort Morgan's side. If that's a Lincoln timeout, they're out of timeouts.
And that helped out Fort Morgan.
Well, I think they would have snapped it, but it would have been under duress because they looked a little bit discombobulated there.
I looked down at the cheerleaders. I saw 25 on the back of one of theirs, and I thought 25, but I guess kids are going to be graduating in 25.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
So it's 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 20-yard line.
I'm glad to see they're getting Johnson involved a little bit, get that speed going.
All right.
Get him the ball on that little slant earlier and let him do what he does with the ball.
First down for the Mustangs after the timeout.
Let's see what play they decide to run on 1st and 10 up 28-0. 5th drive for the Mustangs. From the pistol, man in motion to the right is Bosworth. There's the snap, the handoff to Keller. Running room to the 25, back to the middle, and he's tackled around the ankles at the 28-yard line by Desmond Rodriguez.
Angel Lopez.
Check that.
Angel Lopez on the carry.
2nd down and 2 to go for the 28-yard line.
They had some different players in there that time. They had Miguel Davila in there as the H-back.
Well, I think that's Romero now wearing a different number than what's Trey Romero's normal number. Let's see. 2nd down and 2. Running to his right, that's Romero. Stumbles, but he stays on his feet, breaks a tackle along the right sideline to the 40, and then he's spun down across the 45 towards the 46-yard line. It's a gain of 18 for Trey Romero, and the Mustangs are really running the ball extremely well.
First down.
Yeah, they're looking good. Doesn't matter who they put the ball, who takes the ball. They're getting some good yardage, so that comes from some nice blocking downfield.
1st and 10 at their own 46-yard line. The Mustangs lead 28-0. 2 touchdown runs from David Keller, 2 touchdown passes for J.J. Marquez. One to Lopez, the other to Johnson. Naked backfield, rolling out to his left. Romero throwing in the run, complete. Near a 1st down, it's a 1st down to Charlie Langford as he's tackled at the 44 for a gain of 10. And even the Mustang passing game has been efficient. No incompletion so far for Fort Morgan.
Gain is good for Mustangs. First down.
Yeah, it looks they're doing about anything they want to do out there tonight.
At the 44-yard line. 8:18 to go, 2nd quarter. Mustangs scored all their touchdowns in the 1st quarter. Langford in motion to the right. Has it on the jet sweep. Sidesteps a defender back to the 40, and he slips and goes down to the turf. And he knew that he had daylight. He gained 4 yards, but Kevin, that could have been a heck of a lot more.
Oh, yeah. He had a lot of green in front of him. And
Looked like he could have kept it outside.
right.
I don't know why he cut it back inside. Looked
Yeah.
like he had plenty of room outside, and then he wouldn't have had that slip on that sharp cut.
Well, Brian, not everybody has your vision, but I'm with you. I mean, he had this much territory,
Yeah.
but I think he was thinking that if I cut it in the middle, it's a shorter distance to the end zone, even though there was more traffic there. Naked backfield, 5 yards behind center, 2nd and 6 for the 40. Romero will keep it himself, running to his left, breaks a tackle. He's got a 1st down to the 35. Along the left sideline, a stiff arm, and he's down at about the 26-yard line.
Number 5, Trey Romero.
Let's see where they mark it.
Yep.
It'll be at least 13 yards, if not 14. Another Mustang
Gain is good
1st
for
down. We'll give him
Mustangs.
14
First
yards
down.
to the 26-yard line. That's 2 carries for 32 yards for Trey Romero. You want to work on the passing game, but the run seems to come to them very easy tonight.
Yeah. They're able to run anybody they want and anywhere they want.
On 1st and 10 from the 26 of Lincoln. Naked backfield, shotgun to throw. Romero getting pressure. The
Oh.
pass is picked off, and this could go the other way for 6 along the left sideline to the 40-yard line with the defender to beat, and then tackled at about the 31. That was an awful pass by Trey Romero. Can't get the number over there. There's a 2 in there. I'm pinning my eyes on the defender. A return of about 50 yards. Yeah, I'm not taking my eyes off him.
31-yard
He won't like watching that on film, seeing that big old offensive lineman chase him down from behind and catch
Yeah, I'm
him.
not sure who that is, 75. We don't have him on here.
That was a great extra effort to
Looked like it was-
save the touchdown.
Yeah, it looked like it was picked off by Desmond Rodriguez, but just an awful pass thrown by Romero. I mean, there was nobody there except the defender. Trips to the right there at the 31 of Fort Morgan. And that ball is bobbled, and it's loose and falling on it at the 34. It went off the hand of the quarterback, and Vargas fell on it at the 34. Second down and 13. Yeah, I don't know what Trey saw there. I have no idea because I didn't even see a Mustang receiver in the area.
No, I thought maybe he was going to go to Langford, because Langford, I thought, had broken open over the middle.
Right.
But you're right, that was a very impressive tackle by that Mustang offensive lineman. Second down and 13 from the 34. Under center is Childress. There's the handoff to Vargas, cutting it back towards the middle, and he is hit at the line of scrimmage. Started left and ran right, and there were too many Mustangs in there, including Jackson Wiedrich. Wiedrich had a nice game against Frederick 2 weeks ago. Third down and 13 to go. Passing situation. Well, the Mustangs might have had aspirations of getting to a running clock in the opening half, but that won't happen after that pick. 2 receivers split out to the right, 1 to the left. On 3rd and 13 for the Mustang 34. Deep drop, looking, Childress steps up in the pocket, and the ball is stripped, it's loose, and it's recovered by a Lincoln Lancer at the 39-yard line by an offensive lineman. It'll go as a sack and a loss of 5. And they'll go for it here because it's going to be a 4th and 19 at the Mustang 39. No reason to punt.
Looks like they're maybe putting the punt team in.
Yeah, well, you'd almost fake it here. I mean, how many yards are they going to gain with that punt? Second sack for the Mustangs. It is a 4th and 19. There's the snap, and he will punt it. Right-footed punt, nice spiral. It will bounce at the 3 into the end zone and a net of only 19 yards on that punt.
Mustangs will begin the 1st and 10.
4:48 to go, second quarter. The Mustangs have led 28-0 since the end of the opening quarter.
Let's see if he goes back with the same quarterback. No, he went back to Marquez now.
And Ben Fritzler is in the backfield. Yeah, Ben's got speed, but he definitely has to beef up a little bit more. Oh, will they work on the passing game? Yeah, tonight makes sense to go to a 2-quarterback system. Without question. Pistol formation from the 20. Snap to Marquez. There's the handoff to Fritzler up the middle to the 25. And then he barrels into a defender. He looked like a big, strong running back there across the 30 to the 32 for a gain of 12. You could have multiple 100-yard rushers tonight if the Mustangs stay committed to the ground game.
Yep. Hurry up offense. Well, we'll see if they get it snapped in a hurry.
At the 32, same formation, high snap. Fritzler again spinning and breaks out of a tackle. Flag is down, so is he at the 35. This will come back. It'll be a 1st and 20 as a Lancer's down right at the end of the play.
And we have an injured Lancer on the field.
And, yeah, getting up slowly is Anthony Nava, a freshman. We are at the top of the hour. This is Morgan County's B106 KPRB. Brush, Fort Morgan. I'm John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. Mustangs with a holding call. Second quarter brought to you by Stubbs Gas and Oil off of I-76 and exit 66A in Wiggins for all your food and gas and travel accessories. Well, that was behind the line of scrimmage, so it's 1st and 22. And it looked like Nava had gotten up and then went right back down to the turf.
Yeah, he was hobbling pretty good, so.
And it was right at the end of the play when he either turned an ankle or something to that effect. Homecoming festivities coming up at halftime.
Like Dr. Keller out there to check on him.
Mustangs are back here 6 nights from tonight against Kennedy. 7 o'clock on B106. Once again, the Colorado Prep Scoreboard Show will follow this game at 9:30. We got a late start, but hopefully we should be done in time, especially if the Mustangs go up by 40 or more.
Kennedy will have a short week. They play tomorrow against Northfield.
That's a real short week.
Yeah,
From Saturday to Thursday. That's almost the NFL version of Sunday to Thursday.
Mustangs won't have another Friday night game until the last game of the season when we play Lutheran.
That'll be right here at Legion Field. And Nava cannot put any weight on his left leg.
Injured player is number 44, Anthony Nalva.
So first down and 22 for the Mustangs at their own 20-yard line.
Speaking of Lutheran, they're tied 7-7 with Holy Family in that League 5, I guess we call it.
Yep.
Our league.
First down for the Mustangs.
Angel Lopez is in the backfield. The receivers to the right are Langford and Redding. To the left, it's Kayshawn Johnson. He's got a 35-yard reception off the deflection in the opening quarter. Now trips to the right. Pistol formation. On first and 22, high snap, Marquez out to the right. That's an awful pass, incomplete for Lopez. He really rushed that on that little screen off to the right. And that play just didn't look good from the beginning. The snap was not good. And JJ, I mean,
Pass falls incomplete.
you want to short arm that pass. He looked like he almost wound up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a good pass at all. He way out in front of him, and he was open out there in the flat, but just couldn't get him the ball.
Mustangs have thrown 2 consecutive passes that were not complete because the previous one was an interception thrown by Trey Romero. And I'm guessing here they're going to go to the ground game for this play on second down and 22 at the 20 and just give it to Lopez. There's the snap. Nope, they're going to throw out to the left, and that's an awful throw. And there's a flag down intended for Kayshawn Johnson, but it was airmailed into the Fort Morgan bench.
He got linemen way downfield.
Did JJ get hit?
Yeah, he took a shot. Looked like he took a late shot there. It'll be third down, and maybe that's why he airmailed the receiver, but JJ's been throwing the ball well, but not those last 2, and now he might be out for this game. He's got his head
Yeah, he's not moving.
surrounded by his hands now, and he's down to the turf.
Didn't he have a concussion earlier in the season? Or was that
No, that
someone
was
else?
Trey Romero.
That was Trey Romero, okay.
But I think now Trey's going to have to come into the game because, Marquez had his bell rung, and I think that's why that pass was incomplete. He has to come out of the game, at least for one play, but judging by his body language, he's going to be out for maybe the remainder of the game.
He's up and standing at least.
Yeah, but he was up and standing, and then he went down, then he went flat on his back, and that's not a good sign, especially when you're a freshman. And let's see if the penalty's accepted or not. I think Ty Davies wanted a late hit against a Lincoln defender.
Yeah, the only flag they got was the illegal man downfield.
Yeah, well,
And they
JJ's jogging off the field. But I don't know if I'd play him until the third quarter, if even in this game, because that did not look good.
Back on the field soon.
Third down and, it's going to be second. They actually walk off. I'm not sure why they took that penalty. Why not make it 3rd and 22 instead it's 2nd and 27? That gives the Mustangs a better chance.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand accepting that penalty if you're Lincoln. Again, you could run the ball here. I mean, they've had a lot of great runs tonight on second down and 27 for the 15, but naked backfield. 2 receivers split each side. Romero, quick drop, out to his right. It's caught underneath, but that's a short gain by Lopez. Across the 20 to the 21. And now another flag is down. Let's see if that's going to count.
Third down for the Mustangs.
motion or not formation maybe.
Well, talking to Langford, it looks like, and Johnson.
Yeah, ineligible man downfield.
Eligible receiver against the Mustangs.
I wonder if he was covered.
Must have been. So now it's going to be a 2nd down and 32, nullify the gain of 6. 2nd and 32.
Second down.
See, I think the reason Coach Davies is passing the ball because they know they have to work on that element of the game. They're confident if they run the ball, they could go off for a huge play because that's what they did in the first quarter. But that's really slowing down the game, up 28-0 in the second quarter. With 3.5 to go, the clock is running on 2nd down. There's the handoff and a big hole up the middle for Lopez. Then he's tattooed at the 15. He did gain
Number 23,
5 yards in the
Lopez.
play. It looked like it would be a lot more. 3rd down and 27.
Ball spot at the 16
Lopez
yard
with
line.
3 carries now for 17 yards. On 3rd down and 27 from the 15. Hard count, and Lincoln jumped. Now it'll be 3rd down and 22 for the 20.
Encroachment on the defense.
No, it shows nice discipline by the Mustang offensive line not moving.
3rd down.
This seems like the longest series.
Well, because you've had penalties, and you've had passes, and you had the injury. You've had 2 injuries here recently. One to JJ's was not as severe, at least in terms of time, as the one for Lincoln. Shotgun, your check at pistol formation. On 3rd and 22, back to throw Romero. Deep up the left sideline. Johnson's out there, and it went through his hands, incomplete at midfield.
Pass falls
That should have been
incomplete.
caught. It would have been a first down.
24.
That's a good pass there.
4th down.
Yeah.
That's an excellent pass, and it was just dropped. And that's a guy with great hands, and Johnson, who made a great adjustment for the first touchdown, that for the second passing touchdown Marquez had. Chase ready to punt. Perfect snap. Pretty light rush, and that is an end over end towards the sideline. Bounces the 40. Not one of Reading's better punts this season. That only goes for about 23 yards. And Lincoln is in Fort Morgan territory again. 2.5 to go with no timeouts.
Lincoln will take over 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see him substituting too much on defense. They want to keep this shutout alive.
Right there.
At this time, I ask that all homecoming
On 1st down and 10 for the
make their
42 of
way
Fort
to the
Morgan.
south gate by the student section.
Mustangs
All
have come up
homecoming royalty, please make your way to the south gate
with a turnover,
by the
so is
student
Lincoln.
section.
Both were interceptions. Gabriel Bosworth intercepted for Fort Morgan. Out of the shotgun from the 42. Childress, quick drop. Heaves it deep up the left sideline. It's incomplete. And interference. Well, Johnson might have had a hand on the
Falls
receiver,
incomplete, intended for number 5,
Daniel Aguilar, and there was no need for it because he had him well covered.
Pass interference against the Mustangs.
That's going to go 15. That ball will be at the 27 of Fort Morgan.
That's one way to let Lincoln not necessarily back in it, but give them some momentum. And
Ball's now spotted at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Lancers.
Yep, at the 27. First and 10 for Lincoln in Mustang territory. Second time they've been in Fort Morgan territory. We got 2 receivers split out to the left side. Now they reshift. 2 to the right. 5 yards behind center is Childress. Set back to his right. He'll stutter step, run right up the middle to the 25. And then he's down at about the 23. One of the Mustang defenders tried to tackle too high, Noah Aguirre, but he eventually brought him down. Not before a gain of 4, 2nd down and 6. Let's see, I don't think they've got 50 yards of offense yet.
2nd down.
Let's see, they got, how about 36 yards of offense so far?
how many penalty yards?
Well,
Against
that's
us.
part of the offense, but that doesn't include the 36, yeah.
All right.
That's a good point. 2nd down and 6 to go at the 23. Same formation. 1 receiver to the left, 2 to the right. Rolling right is Childress. Still rolling. Pressure coming. Throws underneath, incomplete. That pressure came from Keller. And the intended receiver was Vargas near the Mustang sideline. 3rd down and 6 yards to go. And Childress is 1 out of 6 for 16 yards through the air.
Yeah, it's hard to roll right as a left-handed quarterback and throw across your body to the outside.
At the 22-yard line. 3rd down, we'll call it about 5. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 in that range. Got to get to the 17, so we'll say 3rd and 5. Again, to throw, Childress flushed, sacked back at the 35-yard line. Jackson Wiedrich throws him for a 13, well, they'll backtrack it, about an 11-yard loss.
Sack on the play.
And it's going to be 4th down and 16 yards to go. 3rd sack by the Mustangs.
44, Jackson Wiedrich.
Yeah, nice pressure right up the middle. I don't know who else was there. Somebody helped him there, it looked like, but
Mustangs will have a shot to put the ball up when they get the ball back. We should be under a minute to go, Brian.
right at a minute. Oh, there we're going. They got the clock going again. I don't know why it was stopped.
3rd, make it 4th down and 16 to go for the 33. Trips to the right. 1 receiver to the left. Just no pass interference here, and you pretty much should be able to take over the ball. Man in motion to the left. Childress, 3-step drop. Deep over the middle. The pass is broken up. Oh, boy, there was contact right at the point. Right at the point that it was broken up.
JJ
Marquez made an excellent play. If he's there a second earlier, that would have been pass interference. He timed it perfectly.
Yep.
And I think he was going for the ball.
Yeah, and that's another reason. But you can go for the ball, but if you hit the man accidentally, they could still call that, even though you're right. I mean, going for the ball should be the primary objective.
Surprised JJ was in
I
on
am
defense.
too.
35 seconds to go before the break. 28-0 Fort Morgan. All the points scored in the opening quarter. From the 33, Trey Romero. Back to throw. Deep along the right sideline. It's dropped by Redding at the 37. That is a perfect pass. As bad a pass as Romero threw earlier, that was right there. You got to catch that if you're Chase Redding. I think he knew that.
Yeah, he had some problems early in the season with some missed balls, and then he's made some really good catches through the middle of the season.
2nd down and 10 to go at the 33. I mean, he ran a beautiful pattern, but it's all for naught if you don't make the catch.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can go back to that same play. Let's see what Romero does on 2nd and 10. He wants to throw out to his left, dropped by Johnson.
I don't know what they're doing.
It's incomplete.
Yeah.
Well, they tried to set up a bubble screen. And that was another decent pass, maybe a little bit high, but that's got to be caught.
Right.
3rd down.
Yep. Yeah, the receivers aren't helping their quarterback at all.
Well, with the last 6 throws Fort Morgan has, they're 1 out of 6 for 10 yards and an interception.
Yeah, what a change that the quarter break brought. Oh, you go 28-0 first quarter and play to a 0-0 tie second quarter.
3rd down and 10 to go for the 33. Got to come up with a big play. We're going to score before halftime. There's the snap. Romero will take off with the football, and he's down at the line of scrimmage. Mustangs are just going to let this run out.
Yep. 15 seconds left.
And that'll be it. The halftime score will be Fort Morgan 28, Lincoln nothing. We'll keep it right here, since we'll take you to the halftime festivities. The Mustangs in that first half.
And that is the end of the first half.
168 yards on the ground and 108 through the air, so that's 276 yards of total offense. And I believe I had 36 for Lincoln. Keep in mind, 1-yard touchdown run from Keller, a 42-yard pass from Marquez to Lopez, 52-yard run by Keller, and then the 35-yarder from Marquez to Kayshawn Johnson.
Queen Lounge.
Halftime show brought to you by Morgan Community College. Start your associate degree, continue your education, or get a specialized certificate. Visit morgancc.edu. And we'll go live on radio and
donated money for the balloon
on video here momentarily. With the homecoming festivities, they'll introduce the 8 members of the homecoming court.
Donald Toyota. Thank you for the cars.
Quite a bit of homecoming around the county this weekend. Brush had theirs last night, and tomorrow Prairie will be playing Branson Kim for their homecoming game.
All right, we're going to send it here to Ricky, the PA announcer.
It is now time to introduce our homecoming court. Katie Bell is being escorted by Colin Duckworth. Parents Kevin and Stacy Bell. School activities include volleyball, manager for wrestling, and tennis. Katie has committed to play volleyball for Chadron State College and major in elementary education. Katie Bell. Colin Duckworth. Parents Aaron and Joseph Duckworth. School activities include football and wrestling. Colin plans to get his associate's degree from MCC in electrical mechanical technical training and find a good job in the field. Colin Duckworth. Morelli Del Campo is being escorted by Ronell Akili. Parents Jose and Martha Del Campo. School activities include FFA, LULAC, Student Senate, NHS, basketball, track, and president of FCCLA. Morelli plans on attending college in state at either CSU, UNC, or CU Boulder. Potentially running collegiate track at either of these colleges. She plans on getting her degree in kinesiology and exercise science, and to get her doctorate in physical therapy. Morelli Del Campo. Ronell Akili. Parents Arnold Campus Akili and Uefa Diane Akpamoli. School activities include soccer, the fall play, captain of the wrestling team, and he will also participate in the spring musical. Ronell plans to wrestle at UNC, but is undecided on a major. Ronell Akili. Kendra Brenneman is being escorted by Jonathan Acosta Soto. Parents Alex Keenan and Ken Brenneman. School activities include volleyball, basketball, golf, Student Senate, NHS, HOSA, and youth group. Kendra plans to attend an in-state college and will be studying for a career in the medical field. Kendra Brenneman. Jonathan Acosta Soto. Parents Rosalba Acosta Soto, the best mom one could ever ask for. Love you, Mom, and Orlean Acosta. You're a close second, but I still love you a lot. School activities include treasurer of FCCLA, membership officer of NHS, treasurer of the class of 23, student senate, tenor sax and jazz band and marching band, and baseball. Jonathan plans to get a doctorate in meteorology with an emphasis in tropical weather. His dream schools include University of Hawaii at Manoa, University of Houston, and Florida Institute of Technology. Jonathan Acosta Soto. Addie Burton is being escorted by Nathan Gherkin. Parents Liz and Chris Burton. School activities include cheerleading, track, and spirit club. Addie plans to attend the University of Northern Colorado to earn her registered nursing license and pursue high jump on the UNC Bears track team. In the future, she would like to work in the OB department. Addie Burton. Nathan Gherkin. Parents Elise and Derek Gherkin. School activities include golf, basketball, track, FFA, Student Senate, NHS, 4-H, and a 3.97 GPA. Nathan plans to attend either UNC or CSU and continue his track career. He will study either kinesiology and exercise science or agricultural education. Nathan Gherkin. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. Your homecoming king is Ronell Akili. And your homecoming queen is Marelli Del Campo. Congratulations to our king and queen. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for our homecoming court?
All right, so once again, congratulations to the homecoming king and queen, Ronell Akili and Marelli Del Campo. I'm John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. We will take a break. We're at halftime. The Fort Morgan Mustangs lead the Lincoln Lancers 28-0. We'll have the second half of our halftime show. And then after that, the second half of tonight's game from Legion Field. Once again, Fort Morgan 28, Lincoln nothing at the break on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. John Beltran back with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde as we hit the second half of tonight's game. As exhilarating as the first quarter was, the second quarter was a downer. It took a long time. Mustangs didn't score. They made some mistakes. They tried to work on the passing game. It wasn't successful for the most part. There was nearly a pick six, a great play by a Mustang offensive lineman to track down the interceptor for Lincoln, Desmond Rodriguez. But it's 28-0. Mustangs do receive the second half kickoff, and they've utilized a two-quarterback system. Once again, congratulations to the entire homecoming court. Homecoming king Ronell Akili and homecoming queen Marelli Del Campo. Let's see who kicks it off for Lincoln. I see guys out there. I don't see a kicker yet. There we go. Maybe that was the kicker the whole time. I couldn't identify him because
hasn't turned towards us yet.
Yeah.
Big 58 lineman's right in the way.
Let's all rise for the kickoff.
Looks like Ezekiel Juarez to kick it off for Lincoln. Runs up to the football, and that is like a pooch. It's loose, and it's still loose, and it rolls out of bounds. I'm not sure what happened there. Who was the Mustang? along the sideline. I don't even know if he tried to
number
recover
9.
it.
Dominic Vasquez, number 54. Is that who?
He'll probably get some coaching this week on that.
Yeah, I know it, but I saw this
First and 10.
Lamontre Sellers, number 9. That's what I was looking at too, Kevin. You got to fall on that ball. I
Well-
mean, there's nobody next to you. That ball, that's a live football.
Here's a big surprise for those of you who left at halftime of the Nebraska-Rutgers game. Nebraska climbed back in there up 14-13 with 53 seconds to go.
Colorado State is playing Nevada tonight as well. First and 10, high snap from the 35, out in the right flat, caught by Redding. Redding towards the middle to the 45, and he's down right there.
Completed to number
Actually,
13,
original line of
James
scrimmage, the
Redding.
41. It's a gain of 5,
Second down.
close to 6 at the 47, but we'll call it 5. Second down and 5 to go. They finally got one of those bubble screens complete. They hadn't done that since the opening quarter.
Yeah, JJ back in there at quarterback.
Redding with his first reception. Marquez now over 100 yards. And there's the give and a first down, and spinning is Keller across the 45
Flag
to
on
about the
field.
41. There is a flag down.
Too many men on the field. Guy was trying to get off the field for Lincoln and didn't make it.
Yeah, they'll decline that. It's a gain of 13 for David Keller, who was at 103 in the first quarter, did not carry the ball at all in the second quarter.
Lincoln, that penalty is
I think
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brian.
I think they changed some things up there, because they brought Chase in and took a Geary out. And they had a different H-back in there. I think they were just trying some things, give the kids that don't get to play too much some live action.
Well, but they can get those same kids back in the game if they get a 40-point lead.
Right.
And that's why I think they want to take care of business right now, have at least one quarter for those second-team players. 41 yards away from the land of no hash marks. First and 10 for the Mustangs at the 41-yard line of Lincoln, up 28-0. Out of the gun with a running back to his left. Marquez will fake it. He'll take it himself to the 40, and he continues to run down at the 35
JJ Marquez
for a gain of 6.
carry.
Might have got the 7th yard as he gets up off the bottom of the pile.
Out on the stop, number 30, Isaac Sanchez.
Second down and 3 to go. A gain of 7 for
Second
Marquez.
down, Mustangs.
His first carry of the game.
I don't know what his injury was there. It must not have been a concussion. I don't know what kind of protocol they have in high school
Yeah.
football.
Well, again, it could be muscular. He might have taken some and just cramped up. I don't know, but it didn't look like it. Now there's the pistol formation. Again, high snap, pitch right to Keller. Stutter step back to the outside of the 30. Keller is down, but he gets a first
Number
down
22, David
at
Keller
the
on the
27-yard line.
Brought
It's a
down by
gain
number 54, Eric
of 7 yards as the tackle was made by Eric Silva, a
It is
junior.
good for Mustangs. First down.
I'll tell you what's not impressive. They got to get those snaps a lot better.
Yeah.
Too many high snaps.
And they're real slow getting back to him. It takes a long time. And, a team that is much better than Lincoln will take advantage of that.
100%. First and 10 at the 26-yard line.
David Keller's holding on to that ball hard because he was tackled that time and they had their hand right on top of that ball and he didn't let go of it.
To the left of the quarterback, Lopez in motion, off the jet sweep, to the middle to the 25, swings it to the outside to the 10, and he's going to be at the 5, tries to break out of a tackle, and he's down inside the 5. I thought he was going to score, but it's going to be first and goal. Angel Lopez with a beautiful move, bouncing it to the outside and gaining 22 yards to the 4-yard line.
Got it at the 3-yard line.
Yeah, nice job. They put him in motion and then handed it to him as he came across and found that opening on the left side, jitterbugged out there and got down to the 4.
First and 10 for the Mustangs, just inside that 4-yard line of Lincoln, up 28-0 in the opening drive of the second half. Wiedrich is in the inside slot to the left. Naked backfield. Romero is now the quarterback for the 4. Lopez in motion. High snap again. Romero breaks a tackle, runs to his left, and he's down after no gain. And again, those snaps, for the most part, are really inconsistent. They're not good.
They're destroying the timing of the play. The blocks are off and everything.
But it's happened a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Second down and goal just inside the 4-yard line. Yeah, you have to make an adjustment if you're snapping that ball. A lower line drive, not that high stuff. Again, Romero, the quarterback. Let's see about this snap. In motion and now resetting as Aguirre. That's a high snap, but a little bit quicker. Romero to his right is going to be held short of the end zone, down at about the 2. Inside the 2, a gain of 2, 3rd down and goal. 4th carry for 34 yards for Trey Romero. Yeah, I mean, Lincoln's not letting Fort Morgan into that end zone. It's not going to be that easy.
Nope.
On 3rd and goal, just inside the 2-yard line. This has got to be the quarterback again. Romero's a big body. High snap again, runs to his right, and he's going to be taken down at the 2-yard line. Might have got to the 1, but the blocking wasn't there. I don't know why they don't just have somebody in the backfield to hand it off to.
Yep. Once again, the snap is high, and it just destroys the timing on everything.
4th down and goal at the 2. And this is not a team that goes under center. It's 28-0. It might stay that way if they don't score with 7.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. All the points scored in the opening quarter. And again, same formation, but you got a bunch of Mustangs lined up to the right. 4th and goal for the 2. Romero to his right. He's got a block. He should score easily and does. Oh, man, they sealed the corner beautifully. Romero could have run it in from about 90 yards. There was nobody out there, and Fort Morgan leads 34-0. 3rd rushing touchdown of the game for the Mustangs.
And that time they got a good snap and had a play that worked well. You know, Lincoln probably selling out inside to try and stop the inside play, and they made it out there easy.
But it was a very unusual formation. They had
Yeah.
a lot of blockers off to the right side, an unbalanced line, so to speak. Now the extra point to be attempted by Brandon Marquez. High snap again, but that kick is up and it's good. It's Fort Morgan 35, Lincoln nothing on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. All right, starting from their own 21-yard line will be Lincoln off the Fort Morgan touchdown, 2 yards away from Trey Romero after the ball was fielded at the 21, but the knee was down. Mustangs lead by 5 touchdowns. 1st and 10 for Childress, and we've got 2 flags, and that will be
Illegal shift.
Yeah, but that's not the illegal shift penalty.
It's like
That's
illegal.
That's illegal participation.
Yeah.
Or substitution. An illegal shift is not that flag.
That's right.
But I don't know.
I think you're right. It was illegal participation, but I don't know what.
Maybe you had 12 guys out there. Because
Could
one
be.
guy went off and no one's come back on.
1st down and 15 from their own 16-yard line. If Fort Morgan scores another touchdown without Lincoln getting on the board, it will go to a running clock from the 16-yard line. How about a turnover here? Handoff right side, Vargas. He's got some yardage, but not much. To the 18-yard line, 2nd down and 13 to go. Oh, boy, we have a
player on the field.
fairly significant. Somebody rolled an ankle, I think. The helmet is even off. That looks fairly it's either serious or just the pain, the immediate pain certainly took effect.
Cramp.
Yeah, sometimes those hamstring cramps can be painful.
Second down and 13 to go for Vargas. That was his 9th carry for 17 yards. Yeah, you wouldn't think on a cold night like this you'd get, usually happens in August or September. Nonetheless, this third quarter tonight from Legion Field is brought to you by Better Electric, covering all electric work from residential to commercial to agricultural. Better does matter. Better Electric, 970-521-1030. That's Better Electric. Well, the only way this game's going to accelerate is obviously with that running clock, because we've had some players go down for Lincoln. And I think this player is going to be okay and just get up slowly. Yeah, when those hit you, they hit you hard at the end. That's a big man
Yep.
for the Lancers, an offensive lineman in Alexander Bilbray, 6'2", 280.
66, Alexander Bilbray.
They didn't travel very well. There's not a lot of fans from Lincoln at the game tonight.
Well, there's a few on the visiting side, but I bet they're Fort Morgan faithful.
I was going to say the north side looks pretty sparse if you want a good spot to watch the game.
Yep.
All right, so it's back at the 18-yard line on a second down and 13. Bilbray still limping off the field with some assistance. Receiver split left and right. Fort Morgan's best chance, so they could throw a pass and then get picked off. There's the handoff to Vargas. Swings it around the outside. He's taken down.
Number 24.
No
Benaiah
gain.
Vargas
David
on the
Keller made the tackle. Third down and 13. And now, what do we have again? An official's timeout. Why?
Somebody else down for
Oh,
Lincoln.
jeez. That might have been Vargas himself.
We have
Yep.
another injured player on the field.
I mean, can you finish this game?
And he looks like he's cramping too.
Well, whatever it is, it's hurting him. I'm not sure what the trainer is doing, but
Yeah, I mean, you're going to run out of players and not even be able to finish this game. Yeah, we're not even at 9 o'clock yet. It feels like we got about an hour of football left, and that's why Fort Morgan has to get this to a running clock. So we finish this game, and the Mustangs improve to 2-4 in the season. Yeah, and it's one of those when you see the player go down like that, with all those gestures, they're like writhing in pain.
yeah.
Right?
Almost
Makes you wonder whether they've ever had cramps before. I mean, it's painful the first couple times you have them. You kind of think you're dying, but eventually you realize it's a cramp and it's going to go away.
Right, and you just got to hydrate. You got to hydrate. Doesn't matter what age you are. It gets worse as you get older if you don't hydrate. But now, I believe that's Vargas,
Yeah,
the ball carrier.
He's up limping off the field now.
Yeah, but I mean, there's one cooler. I see one cooler
Benaiah Vargas.
on the bench, and that's it. I mean, there's not a lot of players, but there should be more than one cooler, you would think.
Right.
Third down
Third down for the Lancers.
and 13 to go from their 18-yard line. Clock is rolling once again. 35-0 Fort Morgan in the third. Childress has the football. Back to throw. Slips. Steps up. Deep over the middle. Wide open. It's incomplete. There were two receivers out there. Only one Mustang defender. And ahead of the field there was King Stansel. That throw is towards the middle. That would have been an 82-yard touchdown.
Yeah, he never did get turned around, though. He had no. There was an Angel Andrada, but he didn't even know the ball was coming. He was just running downfield and went over his head.
All right, Lopez and Redding are back. Let's take this to the house. Let's start rolling this clock.
And with injuries, you have people out on special teams too.
Yeah, they're just trying to, I mean, Lincoln probably doesn't mind if this game gets to a running clock so they can get out of here and go back to Denver. It's a long night for them. Long night. Childress at his own 6, perfect snap, and nearly blocked. He gets it off, line drive, fielded on the run at the 42-yard line, along the right sideline to the 30. Langford is upended at the 19. Charlie Langford on the dead run with a return of 25 yards. That's an excellent return by Charlie Langford.
Brought down at the 18.
And now the Mustangs, if they can get into the end zone, 6:28 to go in the third. Are they going to just keep it on the ground and Ben Fritzler's now the running back? Well, they're already in the red zone because of an excellent special teams play. Langford had a shot to go all the way. Charlie had a great game 3 weeks ago at Pueblo County. He had an offensive, a defensive, and a special teams touchdown. On 1st and 10 from the 18. Out of the shotgun. In motion to the left, Lopez has it on the jet sweep. Swings it to the outside, gets a block, and that's a bad block thrown there. Lopez is going to score, but it's all coming back. That's not a smart block. That was clearly a violation against Miguel Davila. Looked like he held.
Yep.
And that is coming back. All you had to do is let go of him.
That's one of those things where you're blocking your guy one way and the running back gets past you and he turns to run and you still got him engaged and you have to let him go.
It's now at the 32, 1st and 24. They might be tempted to pass, but they know they can run anytime they want. Well, and that's the issue with a jet sweep. You're going to do that, you risk a holding play and a penalty, I should say, because you've got younger players in there trying to seal off the corner. From the pistol on 1st and 18, it'll be 1st and 13 because they jumped. And actually, I've got that wrong. It was at the 27. No, now at the 27. But it's still, they got to get to the 8. So it's a 1st and 19. So it was actually a 1st and 24. Now it's 1st and 19 at the 28-yard line for Fort Morgan. Looking right. The bubble screen caught by Redding. Another flag is down, and Redding is down at the 22-yard line. This one's coming back again.
Number 13, Chase Redding. Flag on the field.
That was a quick flag, but it must have been.
I got to tell you, this is becoming unwatchable. Totally unwatchable. We see more yellow than maroon and white. You might as well hand this thing off. They're trying to work on plays that are just not succeeding right now. Now, I don't blame the coaching staff, but you got to be a lot more disciplined if you're Fort Morgan. They have not been impressive since the first quarter, since the end of the first quarter. And now you've got a 2nd and 30. Or 1st and 30. Yeah, that's right. They still. I'm so confused because the down marker's not moved. 1st and 30 at the 39. This is the best drive of the game for Lincoln from the shotgun. There's the handoff to Fritzer. Jitterbugging to the 35, breaks a tackle. He's got about 9 yards to the 30.
Fritzler on the carry.
Sticks his head right in there. Not afraid to mix it up with him.
Oh, they gave him the 29. It's a pickup of 10. That's 2 carries for 22 yards. But it is 2nd down and 20. Do they stick with a run?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I know. That's what we want to happen. You've got 3 experienced receivers out there, Lopez, Johnson, and Redding. On 2nd down, Marquez is going to roll to his left. He's got the block, looking to throw. Flag is down again, and that pass is going to be intercepted or knocked down.
Intercepted.
Yeah, I thought it was picked.
Flag on the field.
Yeah.
It's going to be a flag against Fort Morgan, but I think that was intercepted at the 19-yard line. And taking over is Lincoln.
Pass was intercepted by Lincoln.
Well, you know, as the
Holding
coaching
again.
staff, they've got to look at this and think, wow, we really had a good first quarter, and then we just lost all discipline and just have not played well. Had the one good drive at the beginning of the third quarter.
Yep. Straight up at 9 o'clock, this is Morgan County's B106 KPRB, Brush, Fort Morgan. John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. The Mustangs have been very undisciplined And again, they've got some new personnel in there, but even with the new personnel, they should be a little bit crisper than this because they have plenty of starters out there. At the 19-yard line, under center, Childress handoff left side and a loss. And that is not Vargas. He went down with cramps earlier. Instead, that is
Helping out on the stop, number
Stencil.
54, Dominic Vasquez.
Vasquez made the tackle. 2nd down and 11. Well, actually, it's almost back to the line of scrimmage. We'll say no gain. I just like to see them throw it up so Fort Morgan comes up with a pick and a score.
Right.
And then they can work on the offense because still 4.5 minutes to go in the third. On 2nd down and 10 from the 18-yard line. From the shotgun, Childress will hand it off in a small hole that closes quickly. Stencil's taken down again at the line of scrimmage. 2 or 3 Mustangs into the play, including Noah
Number 41,
Aguirre.
Noah
Passing situation coming up
3rd down.
on 3rd down and 10 for Lincoln. Man, it just feels like a dead atmosphere. It was so lively in the first quarter.
Right, and the crowd's getting kind of restless, and
On 3rd and 10, trips to the right. Rolling that way is Childress, getting a block, throwing on the run, and that pass is going to be caught, incomplete, broken up at the last second. At the 46-yard line by Langford is a flag down,
Alex Rubio.
and there is a flag down. Maybe there was an ineligible man downfield.
Might have been holding out on that edge, too. That's hard to tell.
Roughing
no
the passer against Fort Morgan. Oh, my
Roughing the
gosh.
passer.
well, that'll perpetuate their drive.
Wow.
15-yard penalty. 1st down.
You know, this is just awful football to watch now. 1st and 10 at the 33. This was really fun in the first quarter. You know, Fort Morgan's the better team. And this game is just being dragged on.
Right?
Trips to the right on 1st and 10 from the 33. And Childress rolling to his right. Heaving it deep. Wide open. The pass is caught at the 35. Now to the 20, the 10, and tackled at about the 2. That'll be a gain of 65 yards.
Pass is completed to number 17, Angel Andrade.
Wow, I don't know how he got out of there.
That is terrible.
I don't know how Fort Morgan caught up with him.
Well, Johnson made the play.
No, but he had like a 12-yard, 15-yard head start.
That is
And a
just
40-yard dash.
horrendous defense. 1st and goal at the 2. I mean, that was awful. In the backfield is Vargas. Yeah, he's back in the game. Under center is Childress. There's the snap. Hand off to Vargas, right side. And he's in. That was from 1 yard away.
Touchdown, Lincoln.
1 yard away, and Lincoln is on the board.
Vargas on the carry.
It's 35-6.
You know, it was bad when the offense started faltering and not doing well, but now to have the defense also complete breakdown and have someone wide open over the top.
This is going to be a victory, but it's not going to feel good anymore.
No.
This is almost going to feel a little bit, not like a loss. I mean, I'm not going to get that ridiculous, but they're going to go for 2. This will be a rollout left and a throw into the end zone. That's caught. 2-point conversion is good. With the score, Fort Morgan 35, Lincoln 8. We'll take a full 1-minute break on Morgan County's B106, B106.com, and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. 35-6 the score. The 2-point conversion was good, but there was a penalty on Lincoln. Then an incomplete pass was thrown, so the Mustangs are up by 29, but have not played well since the end of the opening quarter when they were up 28-0. This is a pooch. It'll be fielded at the 45 and across the 50 to the 48-yard line. And, well, that's
Sellers.
Sellers, who that time made a really nice play on the ball.
Number 9, Lamontre Sellers.
They got to close this thing strong. I mean, they've got to they got to get some attitude here. Some,
Ball spotted at the Lancers 49.
you know, because I mean,
First down.
there's plenty of experience on that field. All your receivers, you know, the linemen, yes and no. You got a young quarterback, but that Marquez did a great job in the first quarter. He's played relatively well, but it's nothing is consistent. Perfect snap, handoff to Fritzler, left side, breaks out of a tackle at the 40, along the left sideline to the 30, out racing a defender and spun out of bounds. There you go.
40, Ben
That's a
Fritzler
solid
on the
game
carry.
for Ben Fritzler.
15 is good for Mustangs.
Let's see where they
First
spot the
down.
football. It'll be at the 23, a gain of 26 yards
Ball on the
for
23
freshman
yard
Ben
line.
Fritzler. That is 3 carries for 48 yards.
Yeah, he had some good blocking, but he did some good running on that too and broke a tackle or two.
Yeah, he's got some speed, no doubt about it. 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. Freshman quarterback, freshman running back, senior receivers. Will they stick with a ground game? Out of the pistol formation. Hand off to Fritzler, running to his right, back to the inside to the 15. Fritzler to the 10, and he spun down right there. And we have another flag down. And then a late flag.
Wow.
At the end of the play.
2 flags down. That's the problem with this football game. This is just pure garbage that we're seeing with all these flags. And I'm not blaming the officials.
Yeah, they only call them like they see them, and you know,
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot of things not working very good. So we
Yeah,
got a
that's-
penalty way back.
Personal foul.
Well, let's see. It should be multiple penalties. Personal foul, Fort Morgan. Well, why would they decline the... because that's at the end of the play, so they'll take the holding from the line of scrimmage. That's why they're declining the personal foul.
Holding on the offense.
It's at the 35-yard line. They have to get to the
Personal foul,
13,
well, that was
so it's
declined.
1st and 22. Fort Morgan's got to have close to 100 yards in penalties, and Ty Davies is out on the
First down
field.
for the Mustangs at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, I think he was probably trying to find out maybe who the personal foul was on.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think you're right.
Chase Redding was coming from that way. I don't know. I'm not saying that was him, but he was in that area.
Well, it's getting a little chippy, and I've seen several players from both sides chirping at each other and not happy and looking at the official like, why are you letting him do that to me?
1st down and 22 from the 35-yard line. We're late in the 3rd quarter from the pistol. JJ will hand it off to Fritzler, running to his right, and he's taken down around the ankles after a gain of 1 to the
Fritzler
34.
on the
2nd
carry.
down. And, well, why did they backtrack that football?
Number 2, Desmond Rodriguez.
Basically nothing.
2nd down.
Yeah, they didn't move that football at all, even though it looked like he fell forward. So it'll be 2nd down now and 22 at the 35. A minute 34 to go. By the way we're going, that minute will take about 10 minutes. Just keep it on the ground. And they will. Fritzler running left. This time has a yard for sure at the 34.
And just like that, Lincoln's figured out our running game and stops us for
1 yard
two
gain on the
1-yard
play.
gains.
Well, they can't stop them on the perimeter. The problem is Fort Morgan holds on the perimeter. At least they have recently.
Right.
It's 3rd down and 21. Yeah, we're going to play a full 4 quarters. I just don't see the Mustangs getting this to a running clock.
No.
Marquez back to throw, pumps deep along the left sideline. It's dropped by Johnson at the 3. How do you drop that pass?
Pass ball is incomplete.
Thrown perfectly, and he dropped it.
Number 24, Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, that's the second one he'd like to have back.
Holy mahungus.
Down.
I mean, JJ cannot lay it out any better.
Nope. That's a perfect pass.
Well, you have to catch it, then run. I think he tried to do the whole thing at once. 4th down. 4th down and about 20 to go at the 33-yard line. They'll go for it, but the chances of picking this up, they could run the same play, but you got to hold on to the ball. Play clock is running down. Low snap. Marquez to throw. He's a deep over the middle. That's going to be incomplete. It was underthrown, but if Redding had a chance to come back for the ball, which he didn't because he was on the dead run, he'd have caught that. He got behind the defense, and Lincoln takes over on downs.
Yep. Not a pretty series there.
Listen, all of a sudden the Bronco game on Thursday night is looking more attractive than this. I mean, I know I might sound harsh, but it's...
No, it went from, just the feel. Just try to think back 2 hours ago when it was the first quarter and Fort Morgan's, scoring their third touchdown with 5 minutes left of the first quarter, and we're just thinking, this is great.
Illegal substitution on Lincoln, and so many flags thrown.
Yeah, coming out of the huddle with 12 people on the field.
5-yard penalty against Lincoln.
And then contrast that good feeling from the first quarter with what you must be feeling now as a coach and a player.
You can't feel good about this.
On either of these teams.
Yeah. Well, especially Fort Morgan. They're the better team.
Yep.
The better team should have been able to put them away. They haven't kept them in the game, but they've kept them from a running clock. And now you're not going to get to a running clock. 1st and 15 for the 28. Looking to throw his Childress. He'll leave it deep along the right side, and that's going to be broken up. And now a flag? How is that a flag? Broken up by Bosworth. That's not a good call. I think all the flags have been warranted. How is that a flag?
Yeah, I don't know. You couldn't see from this angle. He might have bumped into him on the side or something, but yeah, that Lincoln kid should have had that ball. Just like Johnson should have had the one down at the other end. It was laid in
no,
there
you're right.
perfect.
You're right, Kevin.
Who knows? But even without the penalty, he should have caught that ball. And why are we having people, a step or two deeper than our two defensive backs? So
that's a great question. 1st and 10 for the 43 under center. There's the give up the middle, and bowling for a gain of about 5 to the 48-yard line before the tackle was made was Isaac Sanchez, his first carry of the game.
Gain is to the 48-yard line.
Right, you want to look at the clock now. I know we're inside of a minute.
10 seconds.
Well, let's not get this off. Let's go to the fourth quarter. 2nd down and 5 at the 48-yard line. And they'll get it off. Hand off to Vargas. Right side, runs into a blocker. And then he runs free across the 45 along the sideline. Knocked out of bounds at about the 32. It's a gain of 20, end of the third quarter. Fort Morgan 35, Lincoln 6 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. On homecoming night, the Mustangs led 28-0 after one quarter. It's only 35-6 headed to the fourth, and Lincoln is driving at the 32 of Fort Morgan. On 1st and 10, there's the snap that Childress sets, throws over the middle, incomplete behind the intended receiver, setting up a screen to Alex Rubio.
And that would have just gone. I mean, they had 6 blockers downfield and got the ball and only 4 defenders back there because they caught Fort Morgan in a blitz.
2 out of 10 for Childress for 82 yards. He had a 66-yarder, which set up the lone touchdown for Lincoln in the third quarter and in the game. I think Fort Morgan's got to start working on their stuff in practice.
Quads, right.
Yep, and one receiver to the left. Usually this would be a screen. Man in motion to the left. There's a forward pitch for a gain of about a yard, maybe 2. That's Sanchez. That goes as a pass because he went forward with that, a gain of 1.
It's like they're having fun playing little trick plays and stuff.
Hey, as long as the clock is moving, who cares?
Right.
It's the stoppage of the clock that's frustrating. 3rd down and 9 for the 31. Keep this game moving. No reason for, and I can't believe we just ran 2 plays in a row without a penalty on either side. 3rd down and 9. Childress rolls out to his left, pressure backside, hit as he throws, incomplete, and that stops the clock. 4th down.
Yeah, it's a good pressure on him that time.
At some point, if you're Fort Morgan, I think you got to make the decision just to run the ball and work on those things that you wanted to work on either in practice or in a future game. I mean, Coach Davies is doing everything he can to get the players in, the system working, but it just hasn't. Not after the first quarter.
Yeah.
Too many penalties, way too many penalties.
And that may be substituting in on the line, offensive line, and some of these kids that, are fresh at this. But yeah, it's no excuses.
4th and 9 at the 31. Quick drop, throwing out. The pass is going to be dropped. Oh, man, that could have been a touchdown.
Yep.
Because it was dropped along the sideline.
Ball's incomplete.
And then as the receiver was set to secure it, and Daniel Aguilar, he just came out of his hands.
First and 10.
If not, that would have gone for 6, and the Mustangs take over. Well, will they keep the ball on the ground just to eat up some clock and get this game to its conclusion, which could have happened half an hour ago when you think about it? Maybe not half an hour, but 15 minutes ago maybe?
Yeah, if they would have just put one drive together in that, second quarter.
First down and 10 at the 31-yard line. Ben Fritzler in the backfield. Ben Fritzler has the football, running to his right to the 35. Down at the 36 for a gain of 5. Second down and 5 yards to go.
Ben Fritzler on the
Fritzler has carried the ball 6 times for 54 yards.
second down.
Yeah, if you get this down to about 4 or 5 minutes by the time the drive's over, then you've accomplished something. At the 36, this will be Fritzler again, up the middle, first down to the 45, along the left side to the 45 of Lincoln. Then he's tackled at the 35-yard line, and it's a gain of 29 and a first down for the Mustangs.
Gain is good for the Mustangs. First down.
Nice play there on Fritzler. He got through that initial wave there on the line of scrimmage and then found a lot of running room.
Up to 84 yards for the freshman. David Keller, 8 carries tonight for 123 yards. From the 34-yard line, there's going to be a passing situation, it looks like. Or the jet sweep and the handoff to Lopez, getting a block around the right side of the 30. Got the sideline to the 15, back to the inside of the 10, and then he breaks a tackle and he's gone. What a move, 2 moves. And we got a defender down 34 yards away for Lopez. His second touchdown of the game. And the Mustangs now lead 41-6.
We do have an injured Lancer on the field.
Yeah, nice job there by Lopez to get open over, or to get around that edge, and then did some dipsy-doos over there and got into the end zone.
74 yards for Lopez after the 34-yarder. Another cramp. We still have plenty of time left in this game. 9:49 to go. Plenty of time. Colorado Prep Scoreboard Show will be picked up in progress with Kevin Schaefer. Extra point to come, but you know what? Let's just take a break right now. We'll get to the kickoff when we come back. The Mustangs lead 41-6 over Lincoln on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. The Mustangs are back on the board, only their second touchdown of the second half. The Brandon Marquez extra point was good. 34 yards away from Angel Lopez. It's 42-6.
For the kickoff.
And Fort Morgan tonight has run for well over 250 yards. Pooch towards the sideline, right side, fielded at the 15 and down at the 27-yard line. Another return man for
His return to the 27-yard line.
Lincoln. Is that Childress himself?
Yep.
Childress on the return.
Well, he does everything. Yeah, you look at the yardage here.
Yeah, putting somebody else in it. Oh, he's coming back in. I thought he was running off there for a minute.
Actually, the Mustangs at over 300 yards of rushing. 103, so over 400 yards of offense. But they've also got a lot of penalties tonight. Under 10 minutes to go in the game, 1st and 10, 42-6 Fort Morgan leads. Lincoln has the ball at their own 26-yard line. And this is, Childress handing it off right up the gut for a short gain. Maybe a yard, and that's it. And that's going to be Sanchez again.
Number 30, Isaac Sanchez on the carry.
2nd down and 9 to go for Lincoln. Yeah, now the running clock doesn't matter as much because you're already
Almost under
3+ minutes
now.
into the fourth quarter. On 2nd down and 9, just outside the 27. Childress again is under center. Up underneath the center. And the ball is on the ground, but he falls on it at the 26. It's a loss of 2, 3rd and 11.
Fumble on the play is recovered by Lincoln. 3rd down.
Well, the Mustangs have most of their starters out, but Charlie Langford's still in there. Jackson Wiedrick is in there. 3rd down and 11 to go at their own 26-yard line. 42-6 Fort Morgan. Shotgun formation for Jamari, who's rolling out to his left. Childress throwing off his back foot. That's incomplete near midfield.
Pass falls incomplete.
No flags.
Amazing.
4th down.
It's 4th down, but again, the clock stops.
We do have a flag on the field.
Oh, where?
You jinxed us, Coach.
Where was that?
Right in the middle, but I think it's someone's shoe or a piece of
Yeah,
it.
I didn't see a flag.
No.
That's just Ricky being Ricky. I don't know.
Ricky
I didn't see a flag.
Rococo?
Childress is 3 out of 14 for 83 yards. Now Childress to punt. Waiting the snap, and there's another flag. This is going to be a fairly short punt. Get away from it if you're a Mustang. It bounces into Fort Morgan territory down at the 45. That's got to be against Lincoln, but I wouldn't accept the penalty.
No. Kid running on the field never got set.
Yeah, just don't accept the penalty. Take it there and score again. Maybe at that point,
Illegal shift on the
we'll be able to make an exit, which would be so nice. Would be the ultimate. The Mustangs have it at midfield.
First and 10 Mustangs at the 50-yard line.
At midfield for Fort Morgan. Shotgun. Check that. Pistol. Handoff. Fritzler right up the middle. And he drives to the 43. Gain of 7.
Number 40, Ben Fritzler on the carry.
Ben Fritzler's at 91 yards.
He's looking good.
That's
He
the
is.
incentive for him. Get over 100 yards in this game.
Yeah, he does look good.
On 2nd down and 3 from the 43-yard line. Yeah, I don't think they're even worried about throwing the ball. They've got young receivers in there now. Just rely on Fritzler and Marquez. There's the handoff to Ben, running left side, breaks a tackle, gets a first down to the 40. Gain of 3.
Ben Fritzler on the carry. Stopped by number 7, LJ Martinez.
94 yards for the freshman.
How much does Keller have in the game?
Keller with 123. Had 103 in the opening quarter. Only carried the ball twice after that.
Going to put Chase Romero in.
Trey Romero.
Trey Romero,
There.
excuse me. This number 81 is Broden Jess.
Yeah, because the numbers are incorrect here on the original roster we had. From the 40-yard line, Romero hands it off to Fritzler. He's going to take a loss. There was no blocking on the right side. He was thrown to the turf at the 43 for a loss of 3.
Stop made in the
Second down and
backfield by
13.
Number 66, Alexander Bilbray.
Down to 91
Second
yards
down.
now. Well, no, give him a -2 instead. Second and 12 at the 42. Yeah, you still don't feel good about even trying to pass the ball because you have such a large lead. 6:05 to go in the game. Fort Morgan leads Lincoln 42-6. We started at 7:15 because Lincoln only arrived here at 6:30. And then didn't really show up for the game till the second quarter. Man in motion to the right. Hand off to Fritzler, and he's going to take another loss.
Yep.
Loss of 1 to the 43 at running rooms for so many of these carries.
Tackle number 66, Alexander
They're gonna have to
Bilbray,
bounce it to
and
the
number 7,
outside now.
LJ Martinez. Third down.
They'll be under 90 yards with the way this is going.
I don't know if they changed some of their linemen. Maybe they brought in
I think
some
they
different
did,
linemen.
but I think they did. But Fritzler's got speed to the outside. They can work on that. Might be able to pick up a first down. On a 3rd and 13 from the 43. Awaiting the snap, 4 yards behind center. And Marquez will keep it. Running room to the outside of a stiff arm to the 40. That's Romero. He's got a first down. And Trey Romero with a beautiful run
Number
across the
5,
30.
Romero on the carry.
Give him the
Gain is
28
good for a Mustang.
yard line,
First down.
27. Man, that's an excellent play by Romero. And a gain of 16 yards.
Yeah, nice job there. That stiff arm got him some extra yards. I see JJ back in now.
Gain of 16 is up to 52 yards on 7 carries. At the 27-yard line. Again, a score gets to a running clock, but are already pretty late in this game. There's the jet sweep and breaking out of a tackle. Speed to the outside to the 20-yard line, along the sideline and down. Probably a first down. And we'll see if that's
27,
Isaiah
on the
Ortiz, a
carry.
freshman.
Injured
And,
Lance
another
Serrano.
cramp. Looks like a gain of about 11 for
He was
Ortiz.
good for a Mustangs first down.
Long night,
Yep.
without a doubt.
Next week we get
Yeah, Kennedy on Thursday. This fourth quarter brought to you by Rudy's Tires. 9 is the magic number. 9 locations across Northeast Colorado and Nebraska means there's always a location close by. Visit rudystires.com for more. They got to be out of shape. That's
Yeah.
too many players.
well, they're not getting breathers because there's no one to sub in for them.
Yeah, that's true. But even, again, this normally happens in August and September, not into October, at
Right.
least based on memory. So it's first down and 10 for the 16-yard line. This might be the last football game to be played tonight in terms of when it ends.
Right.
We have gone 2 hours and almost 20 minutes. We did have the homecoming festivities at halftime.
First down for the Mustangs.
So it's at the 16 after the nice gain there by Isaiah Ortiz. Approaching the 4.5-minute mark. Ben Fritzler at 90 yards is in the backfield. From the 16, Romero hands it off to Fritzler. Hit at the line of scrimmage, might have lost half a yard.
Number 40, Ben Fritzler on the carry.
Second down.
Stop made by number 7, LJ Martinez.
We'll call it 11. It's a loss of
Second
1.
down.
His last 3 carries have gone for -4. At the 17-yard line.
It's the late.
Stands have cleared quite a bit, by the way. The stands have really cleared. There's still a few people here, but I think those are mainly parents. From the 17, out of the pistol. There's the toss left to Fritzler. Make a cut And he does to the outside of the 15, along the sideline to the 10. And he's out of bounds. We'll see where he can spot it.
I think about the 5.
That's
Short of
just
the
short.
5. Yep.
Gain of 11. 101 yards for Ben Fritzler.
It is good for Mustangs. First down.
So it's at the 6.
First and goal.
They score here, they could almost run out the game.
Yep.
We're in the 3-minute range, I would think.
3:24 and counting.
Yeah, you score in the next 2 plays, that's going to be the game. Takes time to get the players back on the field for even the ensuing kickoff. From the pistol, 6-yard line. Handoff, Fritzler, left side, and he is down
The 1.
at the 1 for a gain of 5.
Stopped at the 1-yard line.
14 carries for 106 yards.
And on the stop, number 66, Alexander Bilbray.
2nd down and goal.
Well, this will be probably the latest I've ever seen the clock go to running clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a play I hadn't seen before, though. He faked that handoff coming across, then gave it to Fritzler going up the middle.
From the 1-yard line. Handoff, Fritzler, right side, breaks a tackle, and he is down at the goal line. No score. He does not score.
Third down for the Mustangs.
3rd down. Well, if he scores on this play, the game is over. This is going to be the last play of the game because you get to the running clock, not after the extra point. It's immediate. Under 2 minutes to go. And we'll have the post-game show. This post-game show will be the shortest post-game show ever. I feel like we've been doing the post-game show for about 20 minutes already.
See if they just let Trey run it in.
Could be. On 3rd down, low snap. And this is the handoff to Fritzler.
He doesn't make it.
No gain.
Stop made at the 1-yard line. Fourth
A
down.
minute 32 to go. 4th and goal. He does have 106 yards now on 16 carries.
You can only get one more.
True story. Looks like they're going to.
Well, let's see. On 4th down, Romero will take it himself up the middle. He's in. The touchdown. There's the running clock. They'll kick the extra point, which will end the game. Romero with his 2nd score of the game. Romero's run for 53 yards. So the final will be either 48-6 or 49-6. Clock is running for the extra point. And flag is down, but
Doesn't matter that.
what's the use now? I mean, why would Lincoln do something as ridiculous as that? Let him just snap it.
Offsides on the defense.
And we'll just take the point.
Yep, they're not.
Yeah, that's it. And the Fort Morgan Mustangs have defeated the Lincoln Lancers 49-6 in a game that ended almost after midnight on the Eastern time zone. Not quite,
Close.
but it certainly felt that way
And that
as
is the end of
Trey
the game.
Romero scores for the 2nd time. The Mustang post-game show is brought to you by Advanced Agri Solutions. Make sure the nutrients you purchased for your field are getting to your crops. Get a full plan of seed, food, and water with Advanced Agri Solutions. Call Dusty or Roxy, 970-571-2024. Again, David Keller, 8 carries for 123 yards. He had a 52-yard touchdown run. And he had a 1-yarder prior to that. Lopez with a 34-yarder also had a touchdown catch on basically a jump ball from 42 yards away, a 35-yarder from Marquez.
Mustang fans,
J.J.
it's
Marquez
written
tonight
through the cheerleaders,
threw the ball 9
players,
times, completed 5 for 103 yards. Trey Romero was only 1 out of 5 for 10 yards. Both quarterbacks threw an interception. But again, the Brush ground game, Fort Morgan ground game, just like Brush's last night, way too good. And the Mustangs improved to 2-4. But Kevin, they got to play better next week for 4 quarters.
Oh yeah, it's like a reference to an old movie, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, who's going to show up next week, and are we going to get more than 1 quarter of good football out of the Mustangs, or is it going to be, you know, maybe they play lousy the entire game, and you know it's a close game. Yeah, they should have put this game away halfway through the second quarter, and I don't know why. And I'm sure the coaches are asking themselves the same question: Why can't we just finish? And that's why it's a rebuilding year, and instead of a continuation, because you know we got a lot of kids that have a lot to learn.
Well, here's the odd thing, Brian. We were surprised they got off to a 28-0 lead. I don't know about you. I was equally as surprised that they were so inconsistent for a long time after they played so well in the first quarter.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think they were bringing some different players in, but yeah, it was, you know, night and day out there from the first quarter till, well, basically the rest of the game until they finally got a couple of touchdowns here in the waning minutes here of the ball game. But we'll see if next week they can put it all together for a full game. It would be nice to see.
Well, again, the Mustangs pick up their second victory of the season. They're now 2-4. It is their first win at home since November 20th of last year in the state quarters when they defeated Frederick 21-14. And as for Lincoln now drops to 3-3. I mean, this is a football team that has won 3 games this year. They beat Mitchell, Denver West, and Alameda to open up the season. Now they've been blown out by Englewood, Summit, and the Fort Morgan Mustangs. For Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde, I'm John Beltran. The final score on homecoming night: Fort Morgan 49, Lincoln 6 on B106. And the Eastern Plains Sports Network.